Hello everyone, welcome back to the dbadmin.com. In the last video, we explored Vagrant. What is Vagrant and why it's an essential tool for managing virtual machine and how it works. But today, it's time to get our hands dirty with a practical tutorial. In this video, let's create a virtual machine using Vagrant. We'll be using AlmaLinux as the operating system and VMware as the provider. And the most exciting part, we'll be installing PostgreSQL during the VM setup. This will be an exciting hands-on session, so stay with me till the end. Now let's get started. Before we begin, make sure you have the following installed on your system: Vagrant VMware Workstation if you're using Windows or Linux, or the VMware Fusion, and the Vagrant VMware plugin. All the download links are in the description below, so check them out. But if you have not installed them yet, don't worry, the DB admin got you covered. Let's dive into the installation of all these softwares one by one. Vagrant is the tool that automates virtual machine setup. Here's how to install it. Go to your favorite browser and search for Vagrant download. The first website that you see is from HashiCorp, the company that created Vagrant. And inside this, you will get the option for downloading Vagrant. I'm using Windows, so I'll download this binary file. This is approximately a 250 MB file, so it will take some time. And once it is downloaded, you just need to install it like any other software that you install. To confirm whether Vagrant is successfully installed or not, go to your Windows PowerShell and type Vagrant --version. And if the version displays, that means Vagrant is successfully installed. Since we are using VMware instead of VirtualBox, we need to install the VMware plugin for Vagrant. Open your favorite browser and search for Vagrant VMware utility. In the very first site by HashiCorp, you will find this. And if you'll go into the download section, you will similarly find another installer, which will be Vagrant VMware utility. So you save this, and once this is downloaded, you just install it like another software. I have already installed this Vagrant VMware utility into my system, so I'll just cancel this. And now we are all set. Now for creating the virtual machine, we need to initialize the Vagrant with the help of Windows PowerShell using the command vagrant init. Now for creating the virtual machine, we first need to make a directory where our virtual machine will be stored. So I'll create a directory onto my desktop with any name like the DB admin. I'll open the PowerShell and make sure you open the PowerShell in the exact location where you need to install your virtual machine. And here do Vagrant init. And as you can see, a Vagrant file has been placed in this directory. You are now ready to Vagrant up your first virtual machine. Now as you can see, a Vagrant file has been placed in the directory, and if you'll open it into Notepad, you'll see a very long text file with everything commented out. But don't worry, I've already prepared a Vagrant file for you through which you can install your first virtual machine. Now let's talk about the most important part, the Vagrant file. The file defines how our virtual machine will be created and configured. Here is the one that we'll be using. Now let's break down the Vagrant file. Let me quickly explain each section of this file to you. Config VM box, AlmaLinux 9. This tells Vagrant to use the AlmaLinux 9 base image for our virtual machine. All these images are present and can be downloaded from the Vagrant cloud. Config VM box version. This is the version of the AlmaLinux box that we are using. Config VM provider. Here we define which provider we are using. In this particular video, we are using VMware Desktop, but you might be using VirtualBox, Hyper-V or Docker instead of this. VMware memory and VMware CPUs. Here we allocate RAM and the CPU cores for our virtual machine. Provisioning PostgreSQL. With provisioning block, we run a shell script to update system packages, install PostgreSQL, initialize the PostgreSQL database, and enable and start the service. With just this simple configuration, Vagrant will create a fully functional AlmaLinux virtual machine with PostgreSQL. Now let's bring our virtual machine to life. Open your terminal, navigate to the folder containing the Vagrant file, or just open the folder and over the navigation panel write PowerShell. Make sure you are in the correct directory. Edit your Vagrant file. Select all the content and paste the content that has been discussed earlier in the video and been given in the description, and save this text file and go back to the PowerShell and here run Vagrant up. Now as you can see, this is completed. Now we have downloaded the AlmaLinux, created the virtual machine in VMware, applied the configurations and installed the PostgreSQL. Now if you want to enter your virtual machine, you just need to do Vagrant SSH and this will take you to your virtual machine. Now as you can see, we are inside our Vagrant machine. Now let's check whether our Postgres is installed or not. For that, you just have to type psql -version. And as you can see, the PostgreSQL is installed. If you ever need to stop or delete the virtual machine, you can use these commands. Vagrant suspend is used to pause the virtual machine. Vagrant halt is used for shutting down the virtual machine. And with Vagrant destroy, you can completely remove the virtual machine from your system. Let's have a hands-on of these commands. So firstly, exit from your Vagrant machine. And once you are out of the machine and in the directory where you have stored your virtual machine, type Vagrant suspend. Now as you can see, the virtual machine is suspended, and if you'll type Vagrant halt, the virtual machine is shutted down. And now if you will type Vagrant destroy, with Vagrant destroy, you have successfully deleted the virtual machine that you have created. And there you have it. We successfully created an AlmaLinux virtual machine, configured 8 GB of RAM, installed PostgreSQL and used VMware, all through a simple Vagrant file. If you found this tutorial helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.